on Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
Hello, you're listening to The Jan Price Show, and today I have two guests, Michael Swingler, who's a producer, director, and editor, and Carl Peterson, who's an actor, writer, and producer. Triple threats, both of you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. I had the chance of meeting Michael at the Carmel International Film Festival and the pleasure of seeing their short film, Carl and Michael's short film called All the Marbles. And it was a part of the best of the shorts at the Carmel International Film Festival. And it was one of the best of the shorts, I have to say. I thought it was just so creative. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I want to talk to you. I always like to start with this question, and I'll start with you, Michael, and then I'll go with you, Carl. I'm going to have to do some jockeying here a little bit. But Michael, how did you get how did you get started in your career? How did you get involved, and what's your background?
Well, it's kind of funny. Sometimes you hear these sort of stories about filmmakers who they seem to come out of the womb already knowing how to operate a camera. And
yeah, right.
That wasn't me. I've always been a creative person. I always loved telling stories, but I actually went into software. My undergrad was in software development, and I moved to Silicon Valley up in the Bay Area. I was a programmer for several years, and I don't know, I just started to notice I didn't really have a creative outlet, and I decided to take a fun, creative night class at a community college there called De Anza College, and I was looking for a class. I saw Introduction to Film, so I decided to take the class, and I just fell in love right from the start, and I was doing it more and more, and pretty soon I was setting up auditions in the cubicle when I should have been coding. And I got to a point where I just said, okay, I'm going to apply to USC's film school, and if I get in, I'm going to change my career. And I ended up getting in, and I've been making movies ever since.
Wow. And how long ago was that, Michael?
That was 2005.
Okay. So You've been doing this for a little bit. You know, you worked for some major companies like Google, Amazon, Hulu, and NBC, and now AT&T, but many others. But today, with the tech world getting involved in the entertainment industry, have you approached any of those former companies that you worked with to collaborate on projects?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of those companies you mentioned, I worked with them more on the filmmaking side.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, when I was a software developer, I worked for Compaq Computers. I don't know if you remember them, and Hewlett Packard,
right.
and such. Never actually went back to them and tried to sort of do any work for them, but it's just funny because you would think I would be working with all these techie companies when I was in software development, but I actually work with them more on the filmmaking side. I am a freelance filmmaker. I have a partner with a production company, and we do a lot of short form material for all these different companies. So, I'm sure you've heard of branded content.
Yes.
We do a lot of branded content for these companies. So, I don't know. It's interesting to be able to sort of tell a story that can still sort of make people laugh or inspire them, but, it also sort of puts the company in a good light and just gives us opportunities to make more content.
Excellent, and it's right now that's what they want was more content. So it's constantly, machine. We'll talk about a little bit more about that. But Carl, tell me how you got started. What's your background?
Yeah, well, I got a BFA in theater, and right after graduating, I moved down to Los Angeles and was pursuing acting down there. And at some point, I just got a little tired with not getting very many auditions and not really having the control in my hands. So I started writing my own projects and started, producing several of the shorts that I had written, because shorts are a little less of a commitment to make than features and other projects. And then one of them that I wrote was All the Marbles, and I took that to Mike, and I actually was in, when Michael was at USC, his thesis film, Midlife. I had a small role in that, and when I got the footage back from it, I was just completely blown away by the quality of it and how good the storytelling was. So when I wrote it, I approached him to see if he would be interested in working on it with me, and luckily he was.
I was going to ask you how you two connected. So it was through school.
Yeah, it was through the school. It was basically my final thesis film at USC, and we just went all out, and we were lucky to find Carl through a casting director, and it was great. And he just came back, I think it was a couple of years later, with this idea, and we just went for it.
And it's the perfect title. Especially if
it's interesting. There's actually another 80s wrestling film that was called All the Marbles that we discovered later. And I've never actually seen it, but we're gonna have to watch that. Have you?
Yeah, I keep getting messages from friends and family, and they send me that poster and constantly congratulating me on making a movie back in the 80s.
When you were just a mere infant at that stage. So, Carl, you're the writer of All the Marbles, correct? Or did you both write it?
Yeah, we both wrote it. I wrote the initial script, which was just a 3-page short about a little kid going into this kind of dark and gloomy little mob lair and challenging this kind of villainous adult to this game of marbles. And I just kind of wanted to bring something very dark and sinister to something that's so playful and fun, like a child's game, especially one that is sort of forgotten nowadays. It's certainly not the new video game system or something. And so when I sent it to Mike, he said, well, first of all, he said that he was interested, but he wanted to do a rewrite on it. And I was just so thrilled that he wanted to be part of the project. So I was like, yes, anything. And I know in the past that on other projects that I've written that the ones that have been the best are when I'm not wearing all the hats, and especially ones that I have a writing partner on. And so I was totally game for that. And Mike really brought this amazing Dr. Seuss rhyme scheme to the story, and then he also brought in so many elements that were just so fantastically dark and fun, and just really breathed a lot of life into the story.
Wonderful. It's great to have that kind of collaboration.
Yeah, no, it was definitely. It was fun. It was just the fact, as he said, that he had a 3-page script that was, as simple as a little boy banging on the door of this scary mob boss's hideout and challenging him to a game of marbles. It's just such a bizarre concept. So I was super excited about taking that and just turning it into this sort of fantastical world. A simple story, but sort of a bizarre setting.
Well, one of the things I said to you when we talked after seeing the film was it really had a Tim Burton feel for me. It was along those lines, especially the beginning of the film. Was he an influence?
think Michael just swooned a little bit. his heart might have skipped a beat.
I started to lose my balance a little bit there. I had to sit down.
No, I mean that sincerely.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
No,
You're welcome.
I mean, Tim Burton, he's one of my heroes. Like, I mean, I love all sorts of filmmakers and all different types of genres and stuff. But, you know, since seeing some of his first movies, we're talking even, yeah, of course, he made Batman, you know, but
Right.
all of his previous films before that as well, you know.
Beetlejuice. I love Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I mean, Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas, Big Fish, you know, but
I
like
love
even
Big Fish,
his
too.
first one, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, you know,
Yeah. I didn't know he did that. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot he
yeah,
did
that
that.
was one of his first feature films that he did.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you watch it, you know, I mean, on the surface, you think Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It doesn't sound like a Tim Burton film, but when you watch it, you really see his style in it.
Well, it's very
And,
distinctive, his style.
For sure. And, you know, I always loved his style. I've always been into that. But I also, you know, I love the big guy, Steven Spielberg, and the films that he made in the past. And, like, I don't know if you remember the series Amazing Stories.
Yes, and they're bringing it back.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on, I don't know, Netflix or Amazon or one of them, I think. You know, I think.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I think that's what I read. But they're definitely bringing it back.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm definitely excited to see what they do with that now. But, you know, I think it was just, those stories were just so much fun and inspiring, and, you know, this sort of ability to tell these fairly simple stories, but in such a magical way. It just really left an impression on me, and, you know, hopefully our film just is somewhat in that same vein and delivers sort of a similar feeling.
Well, it does, and so I do want to ask, because we did talk about this a little bit too. I had Madeline DiMaggio on the show, and she's an acclaimed screenwriter, and she was saying in today's world, you know, you don't go in and do the pitch anymore. What they want to do is hear, you know, to see what you're doing. So a lot of people are doing short films so they can go and get the financing and get the backing to put their movie together. And I asked you if that was the plan with All the Marbles. So is that the plan with All the Marbles?
I feel like when we originally went into All the Marbles, I don't think we were really talking about a feature version of it. I think we were just so excited with this simple story and just telling it in this sort of bizarre way that we just sort of all of our energy went into that. It wasn't until we finished it and started putting it out there that we started to gain a lot of interest from different people asking about a feature. Can this be a feature? And our answer was, yes, of course it can be a feature.
So, Carl, are you fast at work and expanding this to make it a feature?
Yes, we both are. Yeah, it's been a bit of a wild ride with all the festivals and, you know, keeping up with that, and you know, along with day jobs too, and working on the script. So it's been fun. We've also dived farther into the fantasy kind of realm of that as well. So we're trying to finish it up as soon as we can. So, you know, while we still have traction with a short. So hopefully you will be hearing more about it soon.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to jump on that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're definitely developing the story right now. We've been writing it, but, you know, as I mentioned earlier, it was just, you know, how could you turn the short film into a bigger project? So, as Carl said, we sort of pushed the fantasy element and trying to tell a story that's similar to some of those movies that inspired us, like the never-ending story, the Dark Crystal, even an element of the Goonies. It's just those sort of fantasy quest films that sort of sends this character on a journey for a specific goal, but sort of learning something about themselves along the way.
Yeah, well, we're going to go more into that when we come back from this quick break with these quick messages. You are listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM, and like the Jan Price Show on Facebook.
Have you ever dreamed of doing commercials or movies? Your dream starts with a desire. And if you have the desire to do commercials and feature films, we want to know about you. We're Moco Film, one of the Genesis companies that includes VoiceJock, a major provider of TV commercial talent to TV stations throughout the nation. Registering is free. Just go to mocofilm.com and fill out the information. That's MOCOfilm.com. You'll become part of a large talent bank available to producers. Go to mocofilm.com today and start living your dream.
Tired of looking at your worn wood floors? Mr. Sandless can bring them back to life again. That's right, it's Mr. Sandless, the no sanding solution to beautiful wood floors. Mr. Sandless is clean, efficient, contains no harmful chemicals, and is certified green. Mr. Sandless refinishes all hardwoods, softwoods, engineered flooring, and laminates. Most jobs are completed in one day with no cleanup required ever, with virtually no odor, and is safe for pets and kids. No need to move out or even leave the house. Mr. Sandless is the company that invented Sandless Refinishing and is the largest floor refinishing company in the world. Over 120,000 happy customers, guaranteed adhesion, guaranteed satisfaction, and a 5-year warranty. Call Mr. Sandless today at 831-747-7476. That's 747-7476. Or MrSandless.com. That's MrSandless.com.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guests today are Michael Swingler, who's a producer, director, and editor, and Carl Peterson, who's an actor, writer, and producer. And we're talking about their new short film called All the Marbles, but we hope to have it be a feature-length film. So tell us a little bit more about how you see it expanding.
Do you want to take this, Carl?
Sure. Well, part of the thing that we've been thinking about is, Michael has 2 girls, and I have a boy and a girl. And when we were at one of the film festivals, we were in the car and kind of hashing out ideas that we had to, make it into a feature. And one of the things that we said was the whole movie can't be in rhyme, because, like I said, the short is in this Dr. Seuss rhyme scheme. And,
right.
One of the hardest elements was actually making the film rhyme through the dialogue. And once you change one sentence, that messes up, the next line. And then also we thought it might be a little obnoxious to have like an entire full-length film be in rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, just a side note, we're playing on that with just having the bad evil wolf that speaks in rhymes, but then everything else is just sort of normal dialogue. But we were talking in the car, and one of the things that we said was about changing our main character a little bit, and because when we started thinking of like different people that could possibly be a main character besides a little boy, was a little girl. And as soon as we started talking about the little girl and the father and the role that he plays in both the short, but more importantly, or more expounded upon in the feature, is this relationship between the father and the daughter. And then as soon as we started talking about that, both of us felt ourselves get a little emotional, and so that's one of the directions that we're going to be moving into, is this little girl that's trying to rescue her father. And then we'll also dive more into like the fantasy element of the film. In the short, Wolf has these marbles that he's collected or stolen from his victims and these kids in the schoolyard. And in a way, it's like he's kind of stolen their souls, and he's
Right.
keeping them, and he's gaining his power. But with the feature, we're diving more into this element of actual superpowers that this diamond marble holds. And so this town where they live, the diamond marble is this fantastical source of energy for the people.
It's basically
in the
like their
town.
sun.
Sorry, again?
Right.
Say it again,
It's
Mike.
basically like their sun, sort of providing all of the energy for this entire town, and it sort of keeps the cohesion. And when Wolf steals this marble from this town, it slowly starts losing its energy, and the people actually start showing, they start going a little crazy. They actually start losing their marble.
Oh,
And
like it.
basically, if our main character, she needs to go and recover this marble in order to sort of restore the energy of that town, and in a sense would also save her grandfather, who's suffering from a similar disease, Alzheimer's disease, in the real world.
I like it. I like it. You got all kinds of wonderful little aspects in there to expand it. Because you often wonder, when you do a short film and it's complete, it tells the story beginning to end, and it's complete, how difficult is it to take that and try to expand that to a feature length film. And it sounds like you're able to do that fairly easily.
Well, what was fun was, at first, just stare. I'm sure, like every writer goes through this. You're staring at the blank screen, and you're thinking, "What am I going to put on there?" But because we made that short film, it kind of gave us a basic roadmap. The short film was doing so well, it didn't make sense to completely change the story. So we just sort of took the basic skeleton of that and expanded on it and started filling in a lot of the stories that were, the underlying stories that we could never address in a 15-minute short film.
Right.
Just like Carl said, the relationship between our main character, not sure if Carl mentioned it, but we're thinking about actually switching the Jameson character into a little girl. That would be similar to our own kids.
Right.
And I think we really want to dive into that relationship between father and daughter, and how, I think Carl mentioned it earlier, it's just electronic devices and social media and everything has sort of consumed everyone's lives, and it's taken them away from a lot of the social interactions that I think we all need. And this sort of journey, it is about marbles and it is about this magical world, but underneath it's the story about a father and a daughter reconnecting.
I like it a lot. I like what you're going to do with it. I really do. I can't wait to see it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about, I want to talk about the marbles when we come back from this quick commercial break. You are listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk, 1460 and 101 FM, and like the Jan Price Show on Facebook.
Do you have difficulty falling or staying asleep? Do you suffer from snoring, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, or other sleep disorders? If so, we can help. Call Monterey-based Sleep Center and arrange a sleep study in one of our luxury suites. We specialize in diagnosing and treating sleep disorders so you can regain your quality of life. Our luxury suites feature hotel-quality beds and flat-panel TVs so that you feel most comfortable during your stay. Call us today to arrange a sleep study at our secure facility in Monterey.
Call 831-920-1411. That's 831-920-1411.
The Ozio Theater in downtown Monterey is now open every day, showing independent and foreign films. The Ozio Theater has new concession offerings, including beer, wine, hard cider, and their homemade Lush Slush. You can now schedule private event screenings for community charity events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just a fun gathering of friends. For more information, visit the Ozio Theater online at oziotheater.com.
on Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guests today are Michael Swingler, who is the producer, director, and editor, and Carl Peterson, who is an actor, writer, and producer. Carl, you were the evil wolf in this short film. Are you going to play that character again in this movie?
Well, I would definitely love to. I mean, I can't imagine a actor that would not
do
want
better.
to act in their own project.
Exactly.
But,
I was gonna say, who could do better than you?
Right. But most importantly, I want it to get made. So I'm definitely willing to make compromises. But that was one of the things that really drew me to the project, too, as far as wanting to be in it. And usually when I write, whether it's a main character or whether it's a small supporting role, I always seem to write myself into a script, or at least a role that I would really be interested in playing. Mm-hmm. And I personally played a lot of the boy next door and the kind of nerdy or geeky office guy. More supporting characters in my acting career, and I never really get to play the bad guy. And so I was just so excited that I could, finally get my moment of being evil.
And you did it so well.
It was a balance of, being this villainous character, but one that was also accessible to kids, and that went just far enough to be fun and mischievous and maybe a little creepy, but not be too scary.
Well, if you were to cast it, if you weren't going to cast it with yourself in the role, who would you like to see in that role?
Oh my goodness.
You could tell he's been thinking about this a lot.
Yeah.
He can't really see anyone but himself.
Right. Oh boy, I don't know. I could see it going in so many different ways. And I think Mike is also sort of right. I haven't really completely thought about other actors.
Could you see Johnny? I could see Johnny Depp playing that role.
Oh yeah, Johnny Depp for sure.
Maybe even Michael Keaton,
even Christopher Lloyd or something.
Yeah, or Michael Keaton even.
Michael Keaton would be amazing at that.
Wouldn't he be amazing? He would be amazing. There you get your backing. There you get your money. If you get the stars attached, you get your money.
A lot of there's definitely characters we sort of based this off of from various films and such, but one character that has sort of a similar vibe is in the Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events.
Yes,
Like what Jim Carrey did, and in the series Neil Patrick Harris. It's just they could totally play this character.
They could, and they could. Jim Carrey just did something recently, an independent film, but he hasn't done much lately. So, that would be interesting.
All of those actors are, completely incredible. I mean, I think if we got any of those people on board, that would be a real dream come true. And just thinking about when you said Jim Carrey, that I think a little glimmer in my eye just because I could just see him having just so much fun with that role.
Yes, he would. He would definitely have a lot of fun with that role. He definitely would. Because we're talking about this movie, and I'm sure people are curious as to where they could see it. Is there a place where they can see this? All the marbles.
At a film festival near you.
I know. Where do shorts go? Short
it's
film
not
festivals.
A theater near you.
Yeah. Short film festivals. I don't know. I don't know if do Netflix and Amazon, do they have a series of shorts, or do they show shorts?
I think they do. I mean, Midlife, my old short, is actually on Amazon. If you searched for it, it would pop up, and you can watch it that way. But I think they also have, occasionally they'll have like a series where they'll put together a few select shorts that they like and sort of group them up together so it can fill an hour and a half. But it's just, what's tough though is, I mean, you can imagine the number of short films that are made every year, thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
There's so much stiff competition. It's also a little bit of luck. So,
well, do you find that most? I know our Carmel International Film Festival, had a lot of shorts. They did play a lot of shorts at their film festival, and I just came back from the Napa Film Festival, and they had some shorts there, but not as many as we had. Do you find that most film festivals now are highlighting the short films, and are some more showing more of them than others in your experience?
Yeah, I think, I think film festivals always played short films, but I think what was interesting is they really found an audience. I feel the people who go to film festivals really appreciate film, they really appreciate story, but they don't necessarily want to just see the films that are at the big theaters, the big blockbuster superhero films and such. They want to see something unique.
Right.
And I think with short films, you can really pack in a lot of short, wonderful, unique stories in a short amount of time. So I think once they started seeing all those seats filling up with people, they just started adding more and more to their lineup. And it's surprising. There's some film festivals out there that we ran into that play up to 300 short films in their festival, which is quite a bit.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that the Palm Springs the Palm Springs Film Festival, they have a festival for shorts only in June.
Right.
They've been putting that on for a number of years, and I don't know how many more are out there that are just a short film festival, which I think is actually wonderful. I had on my show, and they've done this for quite a few years. It's short animation, and the director who founded that was on the show talking about, putting on the short animation festivals. And that was sort of something, again, new that I hadn't really, wasn't aware of. So that's why I love what I do, because I learn more things and become more aware. Were you familiar with those kinds of festivals before you started this?
Yeah, I would say that we were, and there's definitely, some festivals that you hear about a lot more than others. But one of them that is just short films is Show Me Shorts, which we just played in last night, actually, and again on the 19th, and that is in New Zealand. So, there's definitely more of those festivals that are popping up, and there's also thousands of festivals too. We discovered.
Yes, there are.
There are so many.
I think every little town has a festival anymore.
Right.
It's amazing.
Just to answer your question earlier, that once we're done with our festival run, there's sort of a few options for finding the short and being able to see it publicly. One of those is that our marble sponsor, Mega Marbles, with Make It Fun USA, they're the largest marble company in the world.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Donated,
Go ahead. Go on.
Yeah, they came on board early before we even started production, and I called around trying to find possible sponsors, and they were excited about the project and came on board, and all the marbles that you see in all the marbles are donated by Mega Marbles. And they even made a couple of certain designs for us to use specifically for the film. So the diamond marble is a custom marble that they designed, and we had talks with them of coupling a bag of marbles and maybe some of those custom diamond marbles or the blue jay or the tiger marble that were also used in the film. Sort of the good and evil that would be coupled with the DVD of the short and then sold in toy stores. So we're still in talks with them and to see if that's a possibility. And if it won't be distributed in that fashion, then we'll definitely go the online route. Hoping to find a place for it, like Hulu or Amazon or Netflix. And then if we don't get that, then I think then you could just find it on someplace like Vimeo or something.
Right. I love the idea of packaging it with the marbles. I think that's a great idea. That would be a great Christmas present.
I think it's a great opportunity to start introducing sort of that classic toy that a lot of kids have forgotten about, but sort of by coupling it with this sort of new sort of modern fairy tale, we might be able to actually gain some interest in that game again.
I think so. I totally agree. Go ahead.
So sorry, I was just going to say that's so interesting at the festivals where we have handed out marbles. Because adults get excited about them too, more like a nostalgic thing. But a lot of the kids have been like, "Oh wow!" And I was talking to a mom that said her kids wouldn't shut up about it on the way home. They were just so excited, like, "Mom, can we get more marbles?" And "Mom, we got this." And so it's been really neat to see kids get excited about them.
Yes, and and I think it's great to come back. Again, that nostalgia. Because everything is video games and all of that, to bring something back that I even know about. I was going to ask you, why did you choose marbles? And because obviously the title's wonderful, but why did you choose marbles as the for this short film?
Well, it is that timeless game, that I actually grew up playing with as well, like with my brother and sister growing up. And, we would play at my grandma's house and set up all sorts of little mazes and marble runs that they would have to go through.
Oh, how fun.
Sort of like an obstacle course. And my grandpa passed away, and when he did, I got this bag of marbles that belonged to my dad and my Uncle Gary when we were cleaning out their place, and I had it on my desk, and shortly after that I lost my brother. And so this bag of marbles remained sitting on my desk while I was writing and trying to make my Hollywood dreams come true. And so I was just staring at this bag of marbles, and I thought, boy, I should write something that is a tribute to, my brother and, something that speaks to me, personally. And, and so that's where I kind of got the fun idea to draw this in. And that's just been so neat to see and hear people that have seen the film and, or even just the trailer and have people say and then they share a story about their own marbles. I know one guy that used to play marbles down in Mexico when he was a young boy, and he said it just brought tears to his eyes when he saw it, because it gave him his own memories of back in the day. And hopefully we can. I think it's an element of bringing this great classic toy back for kids, but it's also has an anti-bullying message too, and that's another avenue that we've been wanting to get as much traction with as possible.
It's and again, very timely message. Speaking of messages, we'll be right back after these brief messages. You are listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM, and like the Jan Price Show on Facebook.
Tired of looking at your worn wood floors? Mr. Sandless can bring them back to life again. That's right, it's Mr. Sandless, the no sanding solution to beautiful wood floors. Mr. Sandless is clean, efficient, contains no harmful chemicals, and is certified green. Mr. Sandless refinishes all hardwoods, softwoods, engineered flooring, and laminates. Most jobs are completed in one day with no cleanup required ever, with virtually no odor, and is safe for pets and kids. No need to move out or even leave the house. Mr. Sandless is the company that invented Sandless Refinishing and is the largest floor refinishing company in the world. Over 120,000 happy customers, guaranteed adhesion, guaranteed satisfaction, and a 5-year warranty. Call Mr. Sandless today at 831-747-7476. That's 747-7476. Or MrSandless.com. That's MrSandless.com.
Have you ever dreamed of doing commercials or movies? Your dream starts with a desire. And if you have a desire to do commercials and feature films, we want to know about you. We're Moco Film, one of the Genesis companies that includes VoiceJock, a major provider of TV commercial talent to TV stations throughout the nation. Registering is free. Just go to mocofilm.com and fill out the information. That's MOCOfilm.com. You'll become part of a large talent bank available to producers. Go to mocofilm.com today and start living your dream.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guests today are Michael Swingler, who is a producer, director, and editor, and Carl Peterson, who is an actor, writer, and producer. And we're talking about their new short film called All the Marbles. So, Carl, you told us a little bit about the inspiration of why you chose marbles, and again, it's just something that nobody plays with anymore. You never hear about that any longer. But what was the inspiration for the story itself?
Boy, I don't know if I had a direct inspiration for the story. I have a background in improv, and so a lot of my ideas just kind of come to me. I it's kind of sort of spur of the moment, and how I write is I actually just start writing. I just get the pen moving, and I write things on a pad first, and then no filter, I'm not judging myself at all. I just write just anything that's coming to my brain, and then I'll look at that later, and then I'll pick out things that are of interest to me, and then see if I can expound upon that, and then take it to the computer and type away on it. So I actually don't think there was anything in particular. The idea just came to me, and I thought it was one that was worth exploring, and luckily Mike did too.
It's great. It's stream of consciousness writing that you do then, And they say,
yes, thank you. Yes,
it is. That's kind of like they and they also call it auto writing or something. I think is another, like when you handwrite something, because we don't do that as much as we used to. Again, another lost art. I heard they're not teaching cursive anymore in schools. I was shocked and amazed at that. But that, it comes from the heart and the brain down through the hand on that piece of paper. And and I think that's our best ideas come that way. It's like dream writing, that kind of thing, when we write that way. So it's kind of interesting.
And I started keeping a pen and pad like next to my bed at night, and then so when I would get ideas, restless in bed, then I would be able to jot something down real quick and then see if it was good or not in the morning.
Are you working on anything else right now besides making this a full-length movie, or is this your focus right now?
This is definitely my focus at the moment, but I do have a few other features that I've written both by myself and with other writing partners, as well as a couple of pilot scripts as well for TV.
Oh, good.
So I definitely have other projects in the works as well, but right now this is where I'm putting all my energy.
Anything you can talk about right now, or is it too soon?
Well, there's let's see. There's one of them is a take on like a Breaking Bad, but a comedy version of a art dealer, a professor of a school, or a high school teacher. Boy, I'm doing a terrible job.
Elevator pitch.
Yeah, really.
I wasn't prepared.
I'm
Better
sorry.
be in a tall building.
Right. But it's the high school art program runs out of money, is going to get canceled, and so this art teacher decides to replicate famous paintings and do fraudulent art to sell on the black market in order to raise funds for the high school program. And then, as he gains his fortune, then rival forgers and other art dealers and the feds come after him, and chaos ensues.
It sounds like it's
and
going
then
to be fun.
One other one that I'll mention is a Western ghost adventure. And that is this letter that comes back from the past, from past decades, to this lowly worker at this box factory, and it takes him to this ghost town, and that's where he kind of gives up this model replica, this model ghost town up in his attic, and he goes for an adventure, and it turns out to be kind of this Wild West adventure where he gets taken in by bandits and has to make decisions on like what type of person he's going to be in this Western adventure. And it's sort of like a time travel script as well. I think I also didn't do great on my elevator pitch either. But,
No, it sounds fascinating. Actually, sounds very interesting. It does. I thought that sounds rather intriguing. Michael, you've got a couple of things that you're working on. You have some things that are coming out or have just come out, and some things that are coming out in 2018. You want to talk a little bit about making babies or extracurricular activities?
Oh, well, I was the editor on both of those features. And it was definitely just a fantastic process. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it, but it's definitely going to be some fun and interesting stories.
Which one are we talking about? Making babies?
Well,
or
Making Babies, very fun story. It's just quickly, it's basically a story about a couple trying to have children, and they are unable to naturally, so they have to go through the entire IVF process to finally have that child of their dreams. And if anyone's ever gone through that process, it's very clinical, but at the same time, it's very humorous. The things that you have to do to finally produce that baby, and we just kind of go along that adventure.
For some reason, I think I may have seen a trailer to this. Could that possibly be out? Could I have seen this or imagined it?
Possibly. If there is, I don't know about it. I didn't do it.
Okay, all right.
But I finished up working on that a few months ago. So I know that they're really putting it out there. It might be going on the festival circuit. But I definitely do need to catch up with them and find out when that's coming out. But it's planned for 2018. The other film, Extracurricular Activities, it's a darker film, and it's basically about a high school boy who sort of engages in some criminal acts. Rather than working at the yogurt shop, he decides to live a life of crime. And it sounds very dark, but it's funny. They really sort of played off of this sort of comedic side of it. So even though it's bizarre and strange, it's funny. And you just can watch it and sort of go along for the ride.
Sounds interesting. Another interesting movie. I always love intriguing different kinds of ideas, and there's so many of them out there. We're going to be right back after these brief messages. You are listening to The Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM, and like The Jan Price Show on Facebook.
Do you have difficulty falling or staying asleep? Do you suffer from snoring, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, or other sleep disorders? If so, we can help. Call Monterey Bay Sleep Center and arrange a sleep study in one of our luxury suites. We specialize in diagnosing and treating sleep disorders so you can regain your quality of life. Our luxury suites feature hotel-quality beds and flat panel TVs so that you feel most comfortable during your stay. Call us today to arrange a sleep study at our secure facility in Monterey.
Call 831-920-1411. That's 831-920-1411.
The Ozio Theater in downtown Monterey is now open every day, showing independent and foreign films. The Ozio Theater has new concession offerings, including beer, wine, hard cider, and their homemade Lush Slush. You can now schedule private event screenings for community charity events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just a fun gathering of friends. For more information, visit the Ozio Theater online at oziotheater.com.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guests today are Michael Swingler, who's a producer, director, and editor, and Carl Peterson, who is an actor, writer, and producer, and we're talking about their new short film called All the Marbles. We just have a few minutes left. We talked earlier with Michael about who inspires him. Carl, who inspires you?
Ooh, boy. A lot of people. I don't know if I could say sort of one person, but I would say just on a general note, my family inspires me, and I've been told by other friends that I have that I'm lucky to have the family that I do. Both my mom's side and my dad's side, my extended family are very tight, and we get together every year for a family camp out that we do in the summer, and now it's fun to see like the next generations kind of get together, and I think that I've been lucky to have a support network, with the family that I have, and both here by Seattle and also in Los Angeles. I've always been able to rely on my family. So I guess I would say they're my inspiration. I've never been asked that question. That's a good question. Kind of threw me for a loop a little bit.
Sorry, well, it's a great answer. When I said Michael, Michael was saying that he was inspired by Steven Spielberg and Tim Burton, but who else inspires you, Michael? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Go ahead, Carl.
Just on the Hollywood side, I would say I know the first film that really inspired me that I wanted to get into film and make film was Pulp Fiction, actually, with Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
And my brother and I used to recite lines to that. I started making my own little shorts with my friends and borrowed my brother's friend's camera and told people what to do, and so I would say that was kind of my intro into that.
And Michael, how about you?
Obviously there's, Tim Burton and Spielberg, they're sort of, on the top of the list. But, there's so many filmmakers out there, like Jim Henson, the stuff that he did.
Yes.
And everyone, thinks of him and, the Muppets, but, his film, The Dark Crystal, still told this sort of dark adventure story, but in that Jim Henson way. There's Guillermo del Toro, who's a very dark filmmaker.
Have you seen The Shape of Water yet?
No, I haven't.
I saw it at Toronto Film Festival. I loved it. It's going to be nominated for Best Picture, and he'll be nominated for Best Director, for sure. It really is just a brilliant movie. It's the best of his.
He definitely deserves it.
Yes, he does. He does. Well, I'm sorry our time is up. This has been wonderful, fascinating. I look forward to having you back on the show when your movie is a full-length feature, and thank you so much. Have a great day. You've been listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM, and like the Jan Price Show on Facebook.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.